The draftees yesterday. Joel Cochran had 15 touches, 5 intercept possessions. He was quite slow. He got off to a slow start and was a little bit fumbly at ground level and in the air. But he showed great character in bouncing back in the second half and actually was one of our better players, one of our best players in that second half. I thought he was everywhere. He's a great endurance player as well. He's got like a 6:05 2-kilometer record at the moment. I think he was one of, if not the fastest players in the draft combine at the end of last year. And that really showed in the second half. And he just grew into the game. He grew into the game. He was good at breaking lines. He used the ball well. Couple intercept marks. He dropped a couple early and he bounced back. And that's a really good sign of resilience and persistence in your first game, albeit in the VFL. You take that with both hands as a great bulk of confidence going into your next stretch of games. They've got the bye as well this week, so they won't be playing. But he was really good. Like, genuinely had a really strong impact on the game. And throughout the preseason, we probably had the most question marks around Joel Cochran, just because he was nursing a rib injury, and then when he was out in the park, you didn't really notice him a great deal. But now we're going to see him under the spotlight in the VFL, and it's a big tick for Joel Cochran. I'd probably give Joel Cochran like a 7.5 out of 10 yesterday. Will Hayes had 15 touches, 3 inside 50s. He had a goal. I'm not sure if he had a goal assist. The VFL don't tell us that. But he just did not look out of place in any way. He has everything in his game to be another Bobby Hill for us, barring the aerial presence that Bobby Hill has. However, I noticed that Will Hayes was playing a bit higher as a small forward, whereas Bobby Hill is the more deeper small forward at times. Yes, he comes up to the stoppage at times, but I think Bobby Hill and Jamie Elliott are our deeper small forwards, and then Bo and Lockie play higher up. But I think he could be one of those high half forwards who actually finds the ball a little bit more in the build-up. So really a really positive game for Will Hayes. I think he was also a solid 7.5. Just he looks unbothered. He doesn't look like he's stressed out. He's just chill dude. Charlie West, wow. In the first half, he had how many touches did he have? He had 9 touches, 2 goals, 2 contested marks. The game wasn't really near him for the most part of the first half, but that was due to our horrible delivery inside 50, which actually kept the Swans in the game for at least 3 quarters. But what was pleasing to see was his competitiveness in all facets of the game. It just stuck out like a sore thumb. He was tackling hard. He was competing when the ball hit the deck. 2 contested marks in your first VFL game at senior level is a really nice feather in your cap that you can walk away with. So, yeah, he's just a bit of a battering ram. It's weird, guys. On screen and even watching him at training, he doesn't look like he's 6'4", but that's what he's listed as. He looks like he's 6'2" because of how stocky he is. Similar to like Dane Swan, you wouldn't know Dane Swan is 6'2", but because he's so stocky, it sort of like makes him look shorter than what he actually is. So ticks all across the ground for the draftees. Charlie West, Will Hayes, Joel Cochran. I think I'd probably give them all a 7.5, a solid 7.5, which is a great return. And who knows, we might need one of these players further down the line in the season. You just don't know what can happen. That is the beauty of sport. Injuries, form, so on and so forth. So, really good return on those lads there. Yeah, Riley Mason was good in his debut game for the VFL. Angus Sievers, I think it was, who's like another big key defender. So, depending how he goes in the VFL, I don't want to say it, but it's on my mind now. But depending how well he goes, I'm sure Collingwood will have a look at him. But he's a big, solid boy, and he played reasonably well yesterday. Riley Mason had 3 goals, looked solid. Big boy as well, another key forward. So there are some key position players VFL listed that are really going to try to put their best foot forward and get an opportunity. They're quite young, and in a game where there was 15 AFL listed players, There were very few VFL listed players there. So these are the players that I think the VFL side and the AFL side fancy the most, which is why they got their opportunity yesterday. So that's it. But anyways, guys, we'll leave it at that. I thank you all for joining me on this Sunday evening. We'll probably be back for a Pies presser tomorrow. This week will be a bit of an unusual one because of the bye. Just throws a bit of a spanner in the works. But as always, thank you for being here. And until next time, go Pies.